Welcome to Unraveling the Knots, the podcast where we journey into the rich, dynamic world of natural hair. We explore how to care for it with love, intention, and knowledge. Together, we answer the real questions about keeping our hair healthy, vibrant, and thriving. I'm your host, Ganiat Salami. I love natural hair. By day, I work in project management, turning big ideas into realities and making superheroes out of my team. But when the laptop's closed, you'll probably find me researching, writing, or just talking hair. And today, you're in for something really special. We're trying something new. We are kicking off a new series called What's Hair Got to Do With It?, where we sit down with women and listen to their hair stories. We want to have those deep and rich conversations about our hair journeys that reflect so much more than style. Our guest today is someone who works daily to bring health, hope, and healing to the Lagos Island community in Nigeria through her outreach program. But today, we're asking her a different kind of healing story. I am so excited to talk to her because she is my friend and a lover of natural hair. Welcome to the UTK podcast, Folake. Can you kindly introduce yourself?
Hello, Ganiat. Thank you for inviting me and thank you for having me. My name is Folake Kofo-Idowu. I am a physician by profession, but now a healthcare entrepreneur and nonprofit owner by choosing. And so I'm an infectious disease specialist. I'm double board certified in the US in internal medicine and infectious diseases. I do have a degree and experience in public health also. And all of that has led me into launching a nonprofit organization called Amal Outreach that facilitates essentially healthcare access and coverage for people in, underserved communities. And more recently, I have a for-profit organization, which is a business called Iyewu, that also serves the underserved communities and lower income people. And the focus of that is primary healthcare and primary and preventive healthcare, just because, through my journey as a doctor, working in hospitals, working in clinics and public health, you realize that it's like the poor, in one way or the other, they get penalized. It's like poverty is a vicious cycle and it keeps punishing you. So there's this quote that you say, can't afford to buy, proper toothpaste, or can't afford a root canal now, or can't afford to buy proper toothpaste now, you pay for a root canal later, right? Yes. Because the problem just compounds. And when many of them cannot afford it when it's cheap, but they absolutely cannot afford it when it's more expensive. And so it just causes like catastrophic. You talk about health expenses that bankrupts families, loss of life, loss of limb, just because you couldn't afford it when it was cheap and you absolutely cannot afford it when it's more expensive. So we are working on bringing primary and preventive health care to people in the lower income sector of Nigeria, particularly in the informal sector. So that's what we're working on, and that's who I am in short.
Man, Folake, you do tremendous work for communities, and I cannot applaud you enough. I think it's also important to highlight the fact that Folake is a phenomenal friend. She is that friend that whenever I'm like, okay, I need something or I'm stuck, when I call her, she shows up. She always shows up. So we are going to switch to hair talk now. My first question. So what's your earliest memory of your hair? Can you tell us where you were? Who was actually there with you?
Earliest memory of my hair would be, childhood, probably maybe early elementary, primary school. But what I remember is in somewhere between they're loosening my hair, on taking down braids, cornrows that you have to getting it made. I do have somewhat coarse hair, or I did have coarse hair. And I just remember it wasn't such a pleasant experience. My grandmother raised me, and so I do remember her being there. And I know, and it's interesting, I remember, in Lagos or in Nigeria, there's this ilari or yarn,
Yes.
where they used to, it's usually wooden, but there are a few people that have like the metal ones. Metal ones are rare.
These are the
but
parting combs.
Parting combs, yes. And, my grandma she would be gentle, but it would hurt. But I remember vividly when I would go to the hairdressers who would make it, they didn't know different. They really didn't care. It's just like, child, sit down. Let me do what I need to do, because there's a long line of little girls that need their hair made. And I know I was always flinching and my shoulders were tense because nobody knew anything about moisturizing the hair before you start anything. So yeah, earliest memory is that I had hair that was somewhat difficult and painful to work with.
Oh man, it's interesting because I also grew up in Lagos, Nigeria, and that was my experience. Doing my hair wasn't something that I looked forward to. I'm glad that things are changing now.
Yes.
Moving on to my next question. What were some of the messages, both spoken or unspoken, you received about your hair growing up?
I think for me, that would have been, again, maybe related, probably mostly unspoken, around the coarseness of my hair. And of course, I don't think I'm tender-headed, but again, someone else could say I'm tender-headed, but I think it was that, and it was just, our hair is hard.
Yeah.
So I remember that. But otherwise, not much. I didn't grow up in a household that had a lot of extension use. So there really wasn't much talk about your hair is not pretty. And again, I was growing up in the 80s, like the early 80s. So a lot of us still had cornrows and the Didi Adimole that is kind of like braided flat, French braid, exactly. So and I think that was, so it wasn't so negative. I think it was just more of the texture and the difficulty that I had. But in terms of, the style you're making it not looking, no. I think, we were all popping with French braids and cornrows in that time. Yeah. So not much negativity. I think it was just the discomfort I experienced.
Awesome. So my next question for you is, you did mention that your hair used to be popping then in the 80s/90s. Who were your style inspiration growing up? And was there actually anyone whose hair you absolutely, completely admired?
I know that then, interesting. I think a lot of it is still tied to maybe the texture of my hair. So I remember there were these relaxer, texturizer boxes.
Yes.
And you would see the kids, they had the kids version, and you would see the kids with laid straight hair and all of that.
How about the edges? Forgotten the edges.
The edges, very smooth, and I think I liked it, but I do not remember like it being something I really craved. Maybe because I lived with my grandma. She's older, so there's a little bit of that marinated me. So I wasn't really craving, but I knew it was something that existed. I see it. You would go to braid your hair, in the salon or something, and you would see, but it was just, we didn't do that in my house. Like, no, I didn't do that. But I know that also I'd seen adults, so I would have aunties that had jerry coil, and that was really cute. Right? It was shiny, it was popping. I really liked that. So the jerry coils were that was the time, and those were good. And as we grew older, yes, people started to use extensions, adding into braids a bit more, and gradually weaves came in. But it was very interesting though, because I think I was never so obsessed with my hair. Thinking back now, I don't think I was somehow, either maybe by how I was nurtured or just my nature, I was never obsessed with hair. Like I would just do whatever, and I was good. Whatever was basic and general, you would find me doing it. Nothing so out of place, like I'm trying to set a trend with my hair. No. As I grew older, I don't know if it was high school. I was in boarding school, and I can't remember if my hair had been texturized, relaxed at that time. But I know definitely by the time I definitely left secondary school, my hair was relaxed, and it was interesting because my hair was coarse and felt dense. But once I relaxed it, it just lost everything. It lost all that oomph, that glorious, oh my God, here I am. Everything just went flat, right? Everything just goes flat with it. So I wasn't crazy about relaxing my hair, but it made it easier to manage. Because I was like, it loses body. I didn't like it. So I'll tell them when they put the relaxer, don't let it stay too long so my hair can still retain some fullness. That was one memory I had. Yes, I think I used to get it and I missed it. And so it was one of the things that I was happy to get back once I decided to just stop relaxing and texturizing my hair.
Wow, that's interesting. I think for me, my experience was when I relaxed my hair, I didn't even think about the bounce, because for me, I feel like I was conditioned to just feel like my natural hair wasn't it. So the idea of having straighter hair felt amazing to me, But funny enough, as you said, that hair did not have bounce, so it didn't have all that volume. It didn't have all that swagger.
Yeah, it wasn't versatile.
It wasn't. Okay, my next question for you is, so you did say that you finally decided to go back to your natural hair. What do you think finally helped you embrace your hair as it is today?
Honestly, I think the beginning of it was religious. It was like, okay, let's do better with the life and try to be more godly and all. And, there's this part of Islamic teaching where it's like changing the nature of things and changing things the way God made it, and certain interpretations categorize changing the texture of your hair. And because that strand of hair, once you texturize it, it cannot go back. Unlike doing a silk press. Yes. Or doing a flat iron. If you flat iron and you put water, it's going to get frizzy right back. But they're like, it's a permanent change. And so, I was just trying to do better. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stop. And I remember I did a big chop.
The BC word.
I did a big chop. And I think maybe I just been desensitized because I had a big chop when I was a child, went to the beach, and I was just playing on the beach. And I put a lot of sand got in my hair. But again, I think it's just about hair care. Yes. There probably wasn't, either it wasn't noticed or there wasn't anyone to properly wash my hair, whatever got into it. And I had a lot of, my hair just got nasty. I had like pustules, wounds, sores, all of that. And so my parents just cut everything off. I was probably around maybe 12, 10, 11, 12, around that time. And then maybe the next big chop was I was in college, medical school, and the hair I was transitioning, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to cut it. Because you have this, if you're transitioning out, you have this period where you have all those very limp one at the end, and then you have this spongy side. And I noticed some people struggled, and I'm just like, I don't have time. I'm already trying to cover my hair, not expose it. Let's just cut it off. Yeah. So I did cut it. So the beginning of leaving that relaxer and texturizer was religious. And I think once I went into it, honestly, I do not remember going back. But of course, as you grow older and more informed, even if I'm tempted to, I am absolutely not putting any of those things, whatever it is, on my hair, because I'm not about to give myself cancer and things like that. So
wow, that's wonderful. It's funny because I was going to ask you your decision to not use relaxers moving forward now, whether that is stemming from the fact that you're a physician, but you already answered answered like you already answered the question, right? There are a lot of studies showing that women that use relaxers are usually exposed to all sorts of diseases, including cancer. And I guess part of what I'm even learning is that it depends on how you apply the relaxer, right? But still, I think there's a sense that to be safer, if you don't have to relax your head, then it's better to just stay away from it or look for healthier options that will not impact your health. Okay, my other question for you, Folake, is you work to heal others every day. Do you feel like caring for your hair has also been a kind of healing for you?
Definitely, absolutely. Because, there's a little bit of probably some amount of trauma and hurt that you carry as a child, where everybody, just makes you feel like your hair is difficult to work with. And it's not just them feeling that way, but you felt pain. And it's just because of a misunderstanding and lack of information. I have a sister. I think talking about it now brings flashbacks. She's wailing. I'm sure whenever you see any of those social media videos of kids that are literally wailing, whenever she was getting her hair done, from beginning to the end, that is, she's wailing. And her hair is also a bit, on the coarse side. So there is some trauma that we carry there. And learning how to care for your hair, learning to accept it, right? And embrace it. And it's not like there's anything wrong, because again, being exposed to the Western world and either living there or exposed to whatever it is, you see people that are wearing weaves, you see people that are doing this, you see all sorts of things. And it makes you question like, oh, why is my hair not looking like that? Why can't my hair look like that? Why is the hair growing out of my head? Why can't it just be easier? Not everything good comes easy. And in that journey of one, embracing the beauty and the strength. Yeah. Because again, I'd used relaxers and I saw that my hair gets limp. I don't like limp hair. And it made me feel like there's value in what is coming out of your hair. It has strength. It has bounce. It has body. I can do a lot of things with. Yes. And so it's like you didn't love it because you didn't understand it. And so in learning about my hair, learning to care for my hair helped me also embrace it better. And now, I get good shampoos and I just washing the hair. Before you would wash your hair with some shampoos and it feels like you are holding a linen fabric when you are done rinsing hair. But getting the right shampoos, doing the right things to your hair, even without conditioning, right? The hair is soft. Yes. Like, okay, girl, you can do this. So yeah, there's some healing in there and finding just alternate ways. Well, okay, some days you just like a different type of sass. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna fly on it. I'm going to silk press, and you do whatever it is. But it's been healing, definitely. Just learning about it, where I'm not thinking about what other people's hair look like. That's their gift. This is my gift. Because again, people look at, I've colored my hair. I've done all sorts. I've colored it. It has, again, falling off because, again, you don't know how to care for it. You put bleach and ammonia and color, and then you don't moisturize. But then, once I learned my lesson, I've colored the hair. Yes. And it doesn't even fall off. It's because it's strong naturally, right? It has power naturally, so it can withstand a lot. Of course, doesn't mean because it can hold a lot of things, doesn't mean you should put it through too much. But at least it can take a little. Yeah. Can take some. So yeah, the journey it's been nice, and I'm happy, to have the knowledge and be able to get products that now work well for me.
My next question for you is, so these days we live in a more liberal and what you would consider expressive times. What do you think the future holds for how people, especially women, wear their hair?
Women, generally everybody's more informed. 2, women are more unshackled. Physically, I don't want to say informationally, it's not a real word, but information shackle, information prison, women are more out of that box or out of that blindness. But just also in having power to choose, we are more empowered And honestly, we've been shackled because of societal preconditioning of beauty standards that people create. And many times, a lot of times, those beauty standards are not necessarily to serve us. It is to appeal to the gaze of a group of people, aka men, who do not walk in our shoes, who do not live the life that we live. So more and more we have gotten, and we will continue to get more liberated in the information we have, in the power that we hold, we choose to hold, and we choose to embody and exhibit. And that is affecting what we choose to consume, how we choose to show up. We're educating ourselves more. Beauty products, hair care products, body products, all these things, phthalates, sulfates, skin, all these things that have been killing us. And we're rejecting it more and more. And there's more founders and more people, because again, our gifts are different. Some people, when we're talking about, maybe clean hair or clean beauty, some person's gift might be just doing the research. Some other person's gift might be advocacy. Some other persons might be creating a salon where they're going to use. And some other person, like Idara, is creating products, formulating products that are healthy, right? And there's a spectrum that converges into providing clean and safe alternatives or options for us. And we're innumerable, and where our power is limitless. And on that spectrum of everything we need to get to that point, we have it. We just need to, and we've begun to apply ourselves. There's so many women creators, Black women creators and founders that are like, no, we need to serve our people. I need to serve me, my daughter, my sisters, my mom, my friends who look like me, right? And we're creating for ourselves. We're rejecting standards that don't work for us, whether they're European standards, whether they are masculine standards. It doesn't matter. Standards that just don't work for you. Because someone else could be Black or brown that look like me, but the standards she wants to hold is different, and that's fine. Yes. But the standards I want to hold, we're choosing more and more to define what personal standards we want to hold and what success in beauty looks like for us. So I know that it's going to keep evolving, and I hope that, we have more women with power and confidence and courage, and we have enabling factors to support them in there's going to be a lot of pushback, definitely.
I mean, there's pushback right now.
There's pushback, but it's like, was it the ant story where there was this cartoon that one ant challenged a grasshopper, and
that's that cartoon, right?
Yes. Yeah. And they were like, he's just won. No. And the grasshopper general commander came, and he was like, you're stupid, right? He was like, no, you think it's just one. He got away with it, but if more of them think they can stand up to you, and then he used like one nut, one seed. They stored seeds in like a big thing, and he just allowed one to come out, and that thing hit. It was like, how did that feel? And it was like, it's just, it was just one. And then he opened the thing, and it was like, imagine if I unleashed 1,000 or 10,000 of it. And that's what we are. We, the people, are beginning to recognize our power because we hold the power. We hold the power. It is about every a drop makes a difference.
Yes.
And we, the rest of us, have to. I remember when Colin Kaepernick knelt, and there was a lot of backlash. I said, and people were like, he's just one man. What's he gonna do? I said, that's the other part that people are not getting. One person is going to do their little part. The responsibility of the others is to make that one person's effort count. So when someone is an advocate, the job of the rest of us is to amplify. Yes. When someone is a creator, the job of the rest of us is to patronize. Right? We all have a responsibility, and our job is supporting one another. That's what happens. And in that support, we build a network. It's almost like a honeycomb chamber. We're all connected.
Yes.
Right? Some people are going to cluster around Idara. Another person is going to cluster around this. Another person is going to cluster around that. And then in that cluster, there's interconnection. Oh, I love Idara's shampoo. Oh, I love Folake's conditioner. And you crisscross. But before you know what, we have a lattice network that's unbreakable. Yes. It doesn't matter that we're one small people, but it's that we're interconnected, and we the people support one another and rally around another, and we become impenetrable. You take your money out of those big companies that are killing you, and you keep putting it in this small company. It is the small one. All these people, they did not start big. They started one small parlor or one small kitchen. Yep. And they grew because we put our money in there. So all these other one will grow if we support one another. So I know it's going to keep growing. Things are going to change. Women are going to move and redefine what they want. And we are taking our power back.
Man, that is such a wonderful reminder, Folake. And thank you so much for the plug on Idara, because that's what, my brand is all about. We're trying to make sure women, when you're trying to do your hair, you're not thinking, oh my goodness, I'm applying this, but in the long run, I don't know whether it's going to cause all sorts of diseases or complications to my health. So yes, I love your message and inspiration to just tell people things are getting better, but we also have to recognize that we're all in this together, and we have to rally around to pursue avenues that would help make us healthier. Even when we think about beauty.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because the scalp, like for instance, I'm a doctor. Yeah. The skin is the largest organ in the body. Yeah. The skin absorbs. I remember one of my attendings, she was just we were, seeing a patient in the ICU, and she was saying there was a day a patient was unstable and someone had a bag of like a tiny bit of epinephrine. We use it to keep people alive, their heart beating and all of that. And that bag burst open and leaked and splashed on her. You would think it was nothing. Within 2 minutes, her heart rate went off the roof. They almost didn't recognize what was happening to her. Your skin is a living organ. You might have layers, like the topmost layer of the skin is layers of dead skin that we keep shedding every 4 days. But the skin absorbs. So that's why people who use bleaching cream, there's kidney problems. Because you are absorbing toxins from it. That's why people who work in mines, who are exposed to this and that, right? So when you're putting all these things on your hair daily, you are spraying it, it's getting into our skin. Just like they'll say lipstick has lead. You're wondering, I'm not eating lead. My dear, it is going inside your skin. Everything is, everybody's sucking it up. So it's as good as you are eating it with your mouth. So
And I think it's a good point that you raise. The skin is the largest organ in the body. For some weird reason, some of us forget that our scalp is also skin. It just has hair, like more visible hair on top. When you look at the skin on your hand, there's actually hair there, but it's smaller. Your head is
just has more hair
with hair. So be mindful about what you put on it.
Yeah.
Awesome. My other question for you, Folake, is what's one thing you think people could do better to manage their hair?
Information and knowledge. It's the biggest baseline foundation and core of anything in life. Because to manage something, you have to know general and specifics. You have to know about hair, and you have to know about your hair. What type of hair do you have? Do you have, I was learning, they say some people have dense hair. You look at it, it looks dense, but their hair follicles, they don't have a lot of hair follicles, right? What they have is thick. Every strand is coarse. So it looks like the whole thing is much until maybe it starts falling out and you realize, or maybe someone like me, probably what I have is I have dense, like I have a lot of hair follicles, but the hair, its strand itself is not that thick. And that's why it becomes flabby when I relax, right? So knowing your hair, what type of hair do you have? Is it porous? Is it non-porous? So that you know how, it's just like knowledge, right? It's just like even skin. Okay, maybe black people tan, right? But for Caucasians, right? They're Caucasians who burn in the sun, and they're Caucasians who tan, right? And if whoever it is that is in that spectrum and you don't know, you are in for a wild ride, because if you think you're going to tan and you burn, well. Same for us. You go and you might think you have dense, coarse hair rather, and you go and apply a level of relaxer, or you go and apply a level of this and it falls off, or certain products. I've seen people where when natural hair was like really becoming a trend in like the 2010s, 2013s, there were a lot of influencers, podcasts, that YouTube, and they were preaching coconut oil a lot. And then after a few years, they came back. I was like, oh, coconut oil is bad. And I'm like, no, it didn't work for you.
Exactly.
Coconut oil is not bad. I mean, it's natural. And that's the thing, that's the beauty about God's creation. There's nothing that God created that is bad. It is us that we're applying it wrongly. Even the thing that is poisonous is because you are using it for the wrong thing. So you have to know about hair, and you have to know about your hair. When you know the composition, the structure, what makes up your hair, right? That is when you would know what gives your hair life, what sucks the life out of it, what makes it vibrant, what makes it blue, what makes it soft. That is when you would now, but if you don't know anything, you just go into it, you're just going to put yourself, and you just, either you start bad-mouthing products and calling them what they are not, or bad-mouthing your hair. And again, caring is not just the struggle that we share. Being in a community of people who appreciate the beauty of what you have is also amazing. Because imagine I wash my hair and I put it in this nice, maybe French plate or whatever it is, or even sometimes, even if it's Calabar, somebody else, or twists. Some other person who doesn't understand will just be like, oh, why is he looking like that? Oh, whatever. But some other person can look at it and be like, oh my God, I like your curls.
Looks phenomenal.
That is caring. Because again, you are in a community of people who are speaking life.
Yes.
Because there's something that blooms in us when we are witnessed and affirmed. And that also is caring for yourself. So being in a community of people who understand and appreciate, it gives us oomph, it gives us vibrance, even when you're getting tired, like, wash day is arm day. You know that it's not just shared struggle, but there's shared beauty, there's shared joy and shared triumph. That's good.
Wow, Folake. Thank you for inspiring us, man. We're about to start rounding things up. I have another question for you, and it requires us getting more practical here. What's one easy, affordable trick that's changed how you care for your hair?
Moisturize. Please do not be caught out here with thirsty hair. Moisturize. Because it just makes everything easier.
Yes.
It's easier to handle, easier to manage. Moisturize. And that moisturization is from within. Water. Eat your water in fruits. Hydration, and then when you're working with your hair, just make sure it's moisturized. I think it makes a lot of things easier.
The other question that I have for you is, what's the most bizarre hair story you've ever heard?
It was someone's hair falling off, and I heard part of it and I saw. Yeah. So what we heard was the person put relaxer on their hair, and maybe they were combing it. Basically, person's hair fell out. And we were in high school. The hair fell out. But again, just trying to keep things alive. They plaited it, braided, cornrowed it.
Yes.
But it's like, those videos where they are showing people with alopecia. That person had like patches. And they had to like pull strands. And
was this from relaxing their hair, or was this a different hair condition?
It was from relaxing their hair because they had hair. It's like we go home for holiday and we come back. So
makeover.
and we all saw it. But again, I hope their confidence was good. I hope that person didn't feel some type of way. I don't know, absorb a lot of what's that? Ooh. But everybody, it's your hair. Everybody saw it. They used that person as a point of reference. So that was something shocking. And that was almost like how many years ago now? Almost 30? Yeah, almost 30 years ago.
Oh my God. Well,
yeah.
I hope that person's hair recovered. I can imagine how difficult it is for your hair to fall out due to relaxer, and you're in somewhere like a Nigerian boarding school, which is like the jungle of the jungle. Ooh, yes. So I just wanted to ask you, what do you want for your own hair in the future?
I want long hair.
Okay. Thank you.
Even though I don't know, in a way, I don't know how to achieve it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it also is, I think, my own lifestyle. Like, I'm not the most consistent person, but I actually have, I made hair oil myself. I can be a little DIY-ish. I made fenugreek, amla, all of those things I infused, and I do have it. Unfortunately, I infused it into palm kernel oil.
Huh.
I know, because I was like, oh, palm kernel is used in palm kernel oil, has strong smell.
Yes, it does.
It smells like burnt coconut, right?
Yeah.
The smell is stronger. So it's made it hard for me to, but hopefully maybe I can create out time. But I was like, see, let me just go and buy. I've seen a ton on Instagram. I just haven't decided which one to buy. So I think I'll just buy. But my DIY crawl is always itching me like, make it now. I'll probably just buy one.
Well, and I know you to be a good formulator or formulator that likes to experiment. Right? So I'm sure you would, as a doctor, take all those measures, do your research, dilute the things you need to dilute accordingly, so that all the your crown will enjoy all that benefit, but then you won't be putting your crown at risk. My next question for you is, how do you want your hair to feel? Not just the way it looks. What is your ideal, when you touch your hair, what sort of experience do you want to have?
And it depends on perspective, but I could use a few buzzwords. When you say Barbie,
mm-hmm.
Barbie gives something like a spoiled. I don't want to say spoiled brat, but spoiled, pampered.
Lavish.
Yes. Soft girl life. I want my hair to feel like when the bougiest of the bougie. As in the plushest of the plush. We don't play here.
Yes, so.
We don't premium or nothing. Okay? Premium or nothing. That's what I want my hair. I want to run. That it's a nice feeling. When you flat iron your hair and you just run your hand through it. It's nice. It's a nice feeling. And that's a benefit of a gift of that texture, right?
Yes.
But I want my hair to, even in its coiliness, I want to be able to run my hand through it and it feels plush, like a cloud, like a memory, something just pampered, luxurious, where there is a deliberate caretaking. There's a deliberate work and effort to just put you in the best. What is the best state ever that you could be in? Mm-hmm. That's what I want my hair to be in that state and to feel like, yes, I have arrived. The Rolls Royce of hair. That's what I want.
The Rolls Royce of hair is such a Instagrammable comment and a good way to end our interview. Finally, Folake, if your hair could speak right now, what do you think it will say to you?
Mom, I need some love. I just took down my braids and I've been lazy to do a wash. And yeah, so it's going to be like, ma'am, it's about time. What's going on? That's what he would tell me. Lady, get in here. I need my juice. I need a top up, engine change, engine check. That's what, yeah.
And the wonderful thing is that you're in Nigeria, where there's a lot of flexibility in terms of finding somebody that can come to your home and pamper your hair. So Folake, this is your reminder. Call that person to come and do your hair. Yeah, girl.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Oh my goodness, it's been amazing. chatting with you, and I really appreciate you taking time out of your crazy busy schedule to share your hair story and inspire other women to know that they're not alone when it comes to embracing their gift, aka our hair. So, in closing, hair carries memories, it carries pain and pride and rebirth, and sometimes it just carries us through the day. Thank you to our guest for her honesty, her softness, and her strength. If you're listening today, I hope you heard a piece of yourself in this story, and I hope tonight you do something kind for your own crown. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with your sisters, your group chat, or anyone you know would love it. You can always find us on social media at UTK Podcast. Send us messages, let us know any questions you have, and more. Until next time, I'm Ganiat Salami, and this is Unraveling the Knots.